Welcome to the Our Team Podcast, powered by eXp Realty. Are you an agent looking to level up? Are you someone looking to buy or sell real estate? Fantastic. This is the show for you.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Our Team Podcast. I am Brian Auer, and I'm here with...
I forgot my name,
Eric Johnson. It's good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you. It's nice to be back. Different chairs, keeping everybody on their toes.
Yeah, I kind of like this view a little bit better because I can see into the office past the studio here, and if anyone's, acting up, like if Steph Winter, for example, was giving faces, she can't break me. She can break you.
She could.
She can't break me. So I'm fine with this angle because I'm not ticklish, and you're not going to make me laugh.
Those are all good things.
Yes, of course they are. Today we're going to be talking about something I think a lot of our listeners have probably heard before. If you've been in sales for a while, then you probably heard some of this stuff before. If you're not in sales and you're just getting in, then this is going to be really cool. These are just some basic principles. Before I was selling real estate, this is going back like over 25 years ago, I was in sales. And I used to really listen to a lot of Joe Polish and Dan Kennedy and Joe Sugarman, guys like that are really, really good at direct response marketing. And they always talked about, behind good marketing is persuasion, right?
Correct.
And persuasion is it's not like you're trying to talk something into something they don't need. We're not talking about, convincing someone to buy something they don't need. But if you have something that somebody really needs and they're looking for it, but you just want to persuade them to buy from you, right? Then persuasion there's nothing wrong with that. It's not evil.
So you say.
It's not. So I want to talk about 6 principles of persuasion, and these are principles that work really, really well. And it really doesn't matter if you are in real estate or if you are selling cars, or maybe you're a recruiter for a company, right? Maybe you're out there raising money for a big political thing or anything. Just getting people to say yes.
So it's more about getting the universal topic over than something specific to real estate. Well,
I'm going to make it. My world is real estate now, so everything is relatable through that. To me, is more relatable through that lens. But I just thought it would be kind of cool to talk about these 6 principles of persuasion. And the point I was trying to make is, it doesn't matter what you're selling or what your deal is. If you're in a situation where you really need to get people to say yes, then these are some things to keep in mind, these 6 principles. The first one has everything to do with reciprocity. You've heard of that, right? The rule of reciprocation?
I've heard of it.
The rule of reciprocity.
But I don't use it because I can't pronounce it.
I tend to stay away from words I can't pronounce, or I just butcher them and say it and just admit they're hard to say. Reciprocity. The rule of reciprocity is basically people want to say yes when you give something first. They're more up to. For example, I tell this story a lot about me selling that property to a gentleman who. He's in Florida interviewing several agents, and I knew I could win him over because I was going to use the rule of reciprocation. I was going to give him something that he was going to be blown away with, and that was a drone video of this property. So I went to this vacant lot. It's a very nice lot, pretty high end, and I just produced this really killer video for him. And I sent it to him unlisted on YouTube, and it completely blew his mind. He literally told me, his exact words were, "You sent us that video, we knew we had to choose you as our realtor." Because he was talking to 2 other ladies and another guy about different properties, and he was really ready to pull the trigger when he met me. And so he had to choose, because he knows how it works, because his wife in Florida is a real estate agent. So he knows how it works. So he had to choose someone, and he chose me because, I gave him something first. Studies showed that if you own a candy store and you give one piece of free chocolate to everyone that comes in the door, they're 42% more likely to buy a bunch of chocolate from you.
Sees candy, anyone?
Yes, he's been doing that for years. There's a lot of ways you can use real estate as an example too. Like, for example, doing a pop buy, just going to someone's house, giving them a bottle of wine, and it helps you to be top of mind. But it also will cause that past client to go even a little further out of their way to refer you. They'll want to you're not just going to be top of mind with them. You're also going to be someone they're going to want to give more business because they like you. You just brought them a bottle of wine, right? So that is something that is a very good, very strong principle of persuasion, the rule of reciprocity. The second thing is actually kind of hard for some people, and that is to be likable.
Well, that's going to be my problem.
That's definitely your problem, brother. That's why I'm looking at you. Just look at how I'm staring at you.
I know.
No, you're likable. The reason why it's hard for some people is because, some people, they get into sales because they just feel like, or they get into real estate, they feel like they're just going to crush it. The market's, was, in a certain place. And now they're a little grumpy and they're not so likable anymore. Because
market's still hot. I don't know what they're talking about.
It is still hot. I mean, it's just fewer deals are happening. That's a fact. So to be likable is very important because people prefer to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And so we're discussing like in that, and that is to be someone that there's instantly connect with. And one way, if you're talking about being likable, you have to kind of address, well, how can I be likable? If I'm not naturally someone that just is likable, how can I learn to be likable? Probably the first thing I would say is to bring up some commonality in that person. You find something in common with them, and just let them talk about it. Kind of get out of the way a little bit. Just people you become a lot more likable when you get a little more out of the way. You start a conversation and then just let them go at it. You know what I'm saying? You find that common thing that you like and just explore it with them. It doesn't have to be about real estate. It could be about the things that are hanging on the wall. Connecting with them on some, commonality is a great way to be, just open the door, begin, get your foot in on a good path of being likable. And also be very positive and enthusiastic. Enthusiasm sells, as long as you're not being so enthusiastic that you're driving them crazy. But, those are things that will really help you get a lot further in getting a yes. You agree with that?
I completely agree with that. I think at the end of the day, you have to be excited about what you're doing because enthusiasm or being excited about selling is what makes the sell. If you're walking around, gee, George, are you sure you really want to buy in this market? It seems really like a bad idea.
Yep.
No, I don't think you're going to sell.
Exactly. Being a grumpy bear is not going to really get you anywhere. Another thing that's really cool about when you're likable, you will get more grace in the transaction. If something goes wrong or if things are up or, you'll get more grace. You'll get more yeses simply because they just are like, you know what, I just like this guy. And they'll just go for it. Or I just really like this girl. I want to do business with them. So even if you're not perfect in all the other elements, if you're likable, you're going to get more business. You're going to get more yeses. That's just a fact. The third thing is authority. People prefer to say yes to those who are able to give us evidence that what they're doing really does work. They're not messing around. They're the real deal. They're competent. They're confident. They're experienced. They have credentials. So that would be to definitely have authority. And you're going to get that just by, and this is not fake it till you make it type of stuff. This is actually being an authority. So if you're hosting an open house for we've already discussed the rules of reciprocation and being likable, and now you're at an open house and it's time to show authority. So it's all the stuff you have laying out on the table that is your past sales and things about the neighborhood and everything that you know about the schools and the taxes and all of that, you know that product, right? Well, that's authority. And if you have that, and you gain a lot more yeses in your transactions.
But it
with
also
people.
instills the confidence that the yes is going to be well founded.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things for me. I can kind of get around if somebody's not because I'm in sales. I'm a little different too. Sometimes someone's not very likable. If they speak with such authority, I'm still going to do business with them, But I would love it if they were a little more friendly and likable, because the fourth thing is social proof, and it kind of goes hand in hand with authority. But social proof is actually a psychological phenomenon where people will rely on the opinions of others to make a decision. And, sometimes very little about something, but everyone else is talking about it. And so you got to have it. And that's social proof. So in our business, we can garner a lot of that with testimonials, reviews, right? So important. What about how many people we have following us on social media, the engagement, that kind of stuff is social proof. Endorsements from others. So if you have somebody that's really kind of big in the industry and a certain thing that says, you got to call the Hour Team. You remember when we went to that comedy show, and it was with the Cutco guy, and we were in a room of about, I don't know, probably 120 people, something like that. And he called us out, and he was like, hey, if you guys are ever needing to, buy or sell any properties in the Temecula Valley, this is the team. And he made us all stand up and all that stuff. Things like that are great social proof. Everyone in that room that wasn't a realtor was probably thinking, man, they must be good, because he was definitely a person of authority in that moment, and he elevated us, and so that was pretty cool. So that was a fun social proof moment. Maybe some awards, right? Awards that you get, statements like most people or most popular dish in restaurant proofs. That's a great way to get a yes in the sales transaction. The fifth thing is scarcity. Scarcity is a powerful psychological principle that can be used because it promotes that urgency of, oh man, I don't want to miss out, right? The fear of missing out, FOMO, big time. So you'll see a lot of ads where they're employing this fifth principle by saying limited time offer, limited availability, limited quantity per person. If you're having a hard time selling something on this, in your grocery store, you can just limit it to 2 per person. If you say that something's only available to qualified customers, or it's only available to for a short time, things like that, then it'll cause people to, like psychological trigger will kick in of, I really don't want to miss out. And when you combine these principles with what we talked about a couple weeks ago regarding exactly what to say and how to tweak your verbiage, just incorporating some of those things, you can get a lot farther in your sales. It is a matter of exactly what you say, exactly how to say, and keeping these principles in the back of your mind, internalizing them so that you're kind of on the right path. I mean, I believe that book, Exactly What to Say, every single one of those phrases employs one of these 6. Every single one of them, because they're just universal. So let's get to the 6th one, and that is consistency. That's probably the most important one. So
I'm noticing a trend. Consistency has come up several times.
Absolutely. You have to be consistent in what you're doing in sales. Now, I have heard I've heard a lot of people talk recently that you have to be consistent. I want to encourage you to make sure that you're doing things over and over and over that really have been proven to work. Yes, consistency is really, really important. So
it goes back to the I can be your everything agent versus come check out, your home value prices you'll be shocked at how much you could make.
Yeah, exactly. There's that. Yeah, because there's some agents that are out there just putting their face on a card and saying, your neighborhood expert. Well, there's nothing compelling, which means nothing's going to be selling on that. Dan Beer showed us his card, and it was all about, you won't believe what your house is worth. Scan here. And then it's underneath that, it's scan here to receive this, right? And you're literally telling them, what's next. Do this, and then what's next, you get this. You make an offer, you have a call to action, and you make it simple. Just scan here. Everyone knows how to scan. Consistency is good, but it has to be something that is proven to work. It will build trust if someone sees you doing things consistently publicly. It breeds familiarity, so that's really good when you're consistent. It will help establish some credibility when they just see you doing it over and over and over. When we're publicly consistent with our message, then we also become really top of mind. So consistency is really, really important. So to wrap them up, the rule of reciprocation, being likable, have authority, social proof, scarcity, and consistency. Those are the 6 basic principles of persuasion. Don't reinvent the wheel. There's nothing new. Just do these things.
R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Yeah, R&D. It's very important to do that. On our team, we really push that. Rip off and duplicate stuff.
I think it should be pushed everywhere.
Yeah, if it's working.
Of course. It's working. Practice right, get it right the first time or the second time.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, that's it. I hope someone learned something from this today.
I learned something, and I'm thankful that we could sit down and do this.
Yep. If you have any questions, I'm easy to reach.
Hey, wait, before you go, would you do us a favor?
Catch you later.
If you found any value in this content, would you please like and subscribe to it? Maybe even leave a comment. It really helps us out.